Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, wherever you're watching from, and welcome to a brand new series of Planet Zoo. Yes, we are back. No DLC. I can't be bothered with it right now. Let's just get back into the game first. That's the important thing. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we're going to be setting up a new zoo in a temperate area in Europe, in the UK, because that's where we're from. We're obviously going to call it Rain's Zoo. I could. Let's call it Rain's. Let's call it Rain's. Oh, I don't know. You can rename it. I'm going to call it Rain Zoo, and you can name it whatever you want. Pick a name, put it in the comments below, and that's what the zoo will be called. I would say first come, first serve, but I will choose from the best. That's what we're going to do. Let's create a new zoo. There's scenario zoos? What are these? Oh, that's them. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. We're going to play the game on a medium difficulty, and then we'll see where we go. But let's create a zoo. Now, just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see a loading screen here, and I understand that that's going to be frustrating for you all. I apologise, but it gives me a huge opportunity to explain to you that I'm not playing this game locally on my computer. No, I'm actually playing it through GForce now, and the reason being is, one, I wanted to test the system, but two, I can actually get ultra high graphics, and actually it may not be affected in the recording. You might get a little bit of sort of interesting, but look at the details on these leaves. Aren't they phenomenal? Look at that tree. It has so much life. Now, but yeah, I wanted to test recording, and the game will run so much better than it does on my current gaming rig. It's just not that good. But let's get started with the zoo. That's the most important thing. So the first thing we're going to do is pause the game, mainly because I don't want to spend any actual real money right now. Let me just shut my window. So let's have a look and see what we can get done here. Now, I do want to make a very nice, pretty park, but I fully understand that it takes a little bit of time to get started. This video is going to be called Getting Started in Planet Zoo. Yes, that's right, with all the new little funky bits. So, the first thing we need to do is basically, we need to build the really important things that every zoo needs. And that's a keeper hut, quarantine, research centre, staff room, trade centre, veterinary surgery, and a workshop. We need all those things, but we also need them hidden. Now, right now, I don't really care where they go. That doesn't really bother me. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by building a basic path. All the paths cost the same amount of money. Oh, that's pretty. Gold path. Ooh, how interesting. Bamboo path. These are all new to me. I don't know. So we're going to do some asphalt light park, mainly because it's probably the cheapest. And then we can align it to the grid, or we can continue this path. Is that 7 wide? It looks 7 wide. A couple of things you can do with pathing is you can angle snap. And it's just so that the path still travels in the same direction, like so. It looks super duper nice when you do it that way. And this is sort of a tutorial, sort of let's play of Planet Zoo at the same time. So if you've never played it before, watch this video. It is useful to you. So what we'll continue to do is we will continue to push this down here. And that gives us just a little bit of space. We can later on, when we want to make it look nice, veer off the paths in different directions. But right now we don't want to do that. Then what we want to do is we want to build a path off to the side. This is going to be our staff path. And we're going to have just a basic 4 meter width staff path. And it can go off here. And this is actually, oh look at that, oh beautiful curvature. This is actually going to be where we put some of our huts, our team huts and stuff. And yeah, it's going to look really nice. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Beautiful curvature. Now, we're not going to put the actual keeper hut here, but some of the other things like a workshop and stuff like that, for instance, we're definitely going to put down. Now, initially, you can put them down naked like this, or you can, if you wish to, go into facilities and we don't want unpurchased. I don't know how to get that off. Is that off now, or is it on? Toggle unpurchased. I don't know. What we need to do is go to staff facilities here and then find basically a building that we can put in. Now, this is one I've made in a previous Let's Play. I actually made this and I'm pretty proud of it. It looks great, actually. And I might put it down. I can't remember how to rotate. Is that bad of me? I think it's Control, Shift is that. Alt, no. Z? There we go. Look, I do remember how to play. And Z, there we go. So in here, we actually have a few little things. So we have a workshop and a trade centre. And at the back, we have a research centre and a staff room. And there's a power there as well. And I quite like this building. It's quite a nice staff-only building. So I'm going to put it over here. I am going to use this building because it is quite nice. And it's just a placeholder. How much does it cost? £6,000. And we have £39,000. Obviously, we do have to buy animals, so I am thinking of that. And we'll level it to the ground here. So we'll hide it in the trees. It can go here. Actually, it's not quite level with a pathing system. Let's just, can we just make that semi-level at least? And I just want to, there we go, that looks pretty level. And we can put that in there. Lovely. So we've got a new staff building, which is great. And then what we'll do is we will get some paths going on in here. Now we can align it to a grid actually. They don't need to have, is this elevated? I didn't want this elevated. What we can do is railing on ground queue, get rid of that. I don't think it's, can we connect it to this maybe? Maybe I've just got the path wrong. We can always look back at it afterwards. So deselect grid. Let's go, if we press, I think it's because the path's super long, isn't it? And the angle's on. So what we can do is we can line this path up ourselves, sort of eyeball it. And then if we put another one in across there, like that. We can put it like that for now. And then what you can do is just connect the, oh, I think I've got that wrong. Control Z. Normally you can, I don't think that goes in there that well. Let's get rid of that path a minute. Let's do that. Let's angle snap again. Turn the angle snap back on. 45 degrees, nice. And then connect that up. That's fine. We'll do that. Then what we'll do is we'll sort of do that and do that. There we go, lovely. They're now connected up. Now ignore the grass. We can worry about that in a second with some terrain tools. And we'll do the same here. Can we connect these up? I don't, for some reason not. Get rid of that, perhaps. Get rid of this. Lovely. And can we join that up? It's obstructed. Can we not just get rid of that? Get rid of that. Why is that not connecting? Is it just because paths are weird? So the idea is basically to get a path in here, but it's deciding not to connect up. Oh, there we go. We'll just do that like that. I think it's because of the where that was there. That's probably why there was a bit of an issue. We need electricity there as well, so we need to make sure that that's connected. And now what we should have is we should have this building is now connected up to our main avenue of our park. So all we need now is a veterinary surgery, quarantine and a keeper hut. But we don't need the keeper hut yet because we've not built our first habitat. So what we need to do is get the other two things in. And what I'll do for now, that's an information bit. What's that? Oh, look at this. I built this too. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, look at it. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's an information stand. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I ain't going to lie. But again, not right now. Let's get in. We can get in these sheds basically, and these will do for now for our veterinary surgery. I don't need to worry about it too much. If we put our veterinary surgery here, why not? and then we can put what was the other one? Quarantine. Oh, these buildings are actually quite big, and we could just rotate that and put that next to it. You can do some pretty neat things. We can actually have these buildings look like they're attached. I'm not too worried about whether they are attached or not, but there we go. That's pretty good. We can select the whole building, and we can really be finicky with it and make sure that it all aligns perfectly like so. Look at that. Oh, how wonderfully beautiful that looks. And then it looks like a terrace building. It actually looks really nice. I like how it's laid out. That's beautiful. So we've got the major buildings that we need, and we'll make it look prettier later on. Not too worried about it. What we need to do is actually get an animal in here and start making some money. Now we've got a trade centre, we can start to look at what we actually need. And there are plenty of beautiful creatures we can use. Now, in Planet Zoo, there are two currencies. The first currency is these things here, these leaf things, which are sort of like zoo points. And you'll see down here, conservation credits they're called, and you'll see here that we have 300. And the way that we get conservation credits is by releasing animals into the wild, improving the zoo reputation, or by having some well-educated guests. That's quite newer, that one, I think. Or we can just buy the animals. But when you do buy the animals, you can't release them back into the wild. You can get them breeding and doing some special stuff together, which will then create natural ones, which you can release to the wild, I believe, but initially you can't, is basically how it is. Now, big animals, so animals that do very well at zoos, such as cheetahs and stuff, tend to cost more conservation credits. And this is like their online currency, I think. But animals that are not as popular, or don't do as well, like the Nile monitor lizard, are very cheap. They can be very cheap. So we're going to start pretty much. Let's have a look. Let's see what we've got available, because look, all these West African lions and stuff like that. We could definitely be Joe Exotic and get some of those bad boys in. Of course we can. But let's have a look and see what we can get in. And we can get some, is it Aldabra giant tortoises? I think that's what they are. So we can get those in if we really wanted to. African wild painted dogs tend to do very well as well. In fact, let's get in some of these. So this one's quite a good prestige. So, and it's a male, and it's quite young. So, and look at this, it's got pretty good fertility and stuff. So we're going to adopt this lovely, beautiful creature. We're also going to adopt a couple of the females as well. This one doesn't have as good fertility, but the way I look at it is, let's get all of them in. You can only really have one male in a group, but you can have as many females as they want. And as long as it gets one of them up the duff, I think we're going to be in a good position. So yes, we'll start with African wild painted dogs. Now, anyone that's watched the channel before will know I've started a zoo before, and guess what I started with? African wild painted dogs, and it's because they breed. They do have a good go, but this is going to be a very budgety park to start with. We're talking chain link fences. Yes, we are, ladies and gentlemen. Complete chain link fences. Two reasons: one, they're cheap, and two, yeah, they're cheap. That's basically what we're going with. And we're going to manage, and our zoo is quite flat, so we will have a couple of hill sections, but they're going to be artificial and therefore can't be too big. So everything in our zoo will be artificial. We're imagining that this big flat plain that we've got here is genuinely what we were given to build with. So that's the sort of scenario in my head that we're going to go with. So everything we sort of have here is going to be artificial. Now, to start with, we're going to have them close, and that's because we don't want to build too many paths, because money's a problem. You'll see we've already spent half of our £40,000, so we need to keep spending to a minimum. So straight out of the bat, I am going, and we want to just give a bit of a gap there, maybe that much of a gap. and we're going to build a chain link fence. Now, my understanding is, I don't know whether the game knows this, but we can't bend the chain link fence. I don't think we can bend them. No. However, you can bend walls, and my understanding is when you've bent a wall, you can then change it to a fence, and therefore actually have a bend. I'm going to try it here. We can always undo it, but then we curve it like so. Now if we do that, let's have a look, and we do all this, we can change it to a curved chain link fence, and that works really well, doesn't it? Beautiful stuff. So what we'll do is we'll build with a wall initially, and then we'll change it to a chain link fence is where we're going with this. Get rid of that. Go away. Control Z. There we go. Beautiful. So let's start with a brick wall. And I know you're all thinking, why not just keep the wall? This is a cheap zoo, ladies and gentlemen. This is as good as Joe Exotic gets. Yes. Now it's not going to be a very big pen because, like I said, it's quite cheap. So I would go up to about here, and we can curve it there. Oh, wonderful! Look at that, 300. Look at that, perfect 90-degree curve. And then again, we can now adopt straight sections, and we can go make sure we've got an angle snap there. Beautiful. And that should be dead straight. Lovely stuff. And then up to there. This one here can just curve straight back in, like so. We can make it slightly shorter length here, and can we just increase the length by 1? Is that? I think you can use plus and minus. I'm not sure. Let's go to 4. No, go to 2. Excellent stuff. Now what we want to do is just extend the length to 5 maybe. Can we curve in there like so? Lovely stuff. And it doesn't quite curve back out, but we can sort of play with it. Get rid of that. Right, we can play with that. So let's move. You can edit the barrier now. So you can edit things manually now. So that I can connect to like that. We can bring this out here like that, and we can bring this one out here like that. So it sort of looks good. You can add points and stuff. I'm not too worried about this. This is going to be chain link fence anyway. And then we can put all that in position. Superb stuff. Now let's get. So what we can do now, we're going to build the chain link fence. So we need the chain link fence, I think, can go all the way around to start with. So we change it to a chain link fence. Beautiful stuff. This is where our dogs are going to be kept. Then what we want to do is we're going to build a small sort of building behind. And this is going to be the first time you see the build tools for reals. So that's very important. What we do also need is we need a security gate. Now these can be wooden, or they can be, you know, sort of this sort of gate. We're going to do this sort of gate here, just because of ease, I suppose. And that can go there for now. Things again will be changed and edited when we build sort of the building behind it. I think it'll look quite nice. So if we go to construction, you'll see that there are loads and loads of building parts, and here is where we can get really creative with our work. We can make it look beautiful. We can make the whole habitat look like a place that you truly want to be. Oh, I really love that switch. That's a nice switch. I bet it's really diddy as well. Oh my word, how beautiful is that switch? Oh, look at it. Oh, absolutely superb. I really like that. I'm going to add it. That, I know that detail sounds stupid, but genuinely, that switch is to die for. Oh, look at it. Oh, that's beautiful. Who knew they... I don't know why I've not seen one of those light switches before. It's probably been in the game from the beginning, but it's the first time I've seen that light switch. Anyway, who really cares? Let's actually build something. So, we're going to go to the architecture, And you'll see we'll have some walls available. Not everything's available, because you do have to research in the game. But we do have £21,000 left. So, oh, I accidentally pressed a button I shouldn't have pressed them. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start building a sort of an area around the back. Now, we will do that actually. Let's think. Should we get... Do you know what? I've changed my mind a little bit. I've pressed a button. There we go. I've changed my mind a little bit. What we're actually going to do is we're going to get the animals in. Let's just get the animals in. So what I'm going to do, go facilities. We're going to get the keeper hut, and it's going to be naked. Don't care too much right now. Rotate on this game is different to rotate on every other game in the world. And we're going to get the keeper hut. We're going to put the keeper hut there. That keeper hut is going to be specifically for our beautiful, beautiful animals. And trust me, we can do something really special with the borders and everything with that building to make it look part of the exhibit. Remember, it's not a budget zoo, but it very much is a cheaper zoo. So we need to make sure it is that way. And then what we can do is we're going to get a couple of little things in. Firstly, we're going to get in some give me your money things. Where is that? Guest facilities. So we're going to put in some give me your money bins. So a good place to put bins are where guests can't necessarily fully see the animals. So we're going to put them there and there for now. And then what we're also going to do is we're also going to put in... ooh, look at those exhibits. Oh, isn't that lovely? I've never seen these before. These are new. That's beautiful. Wow. How cool is that? Yeah, that's funky. I like doing my own because I make it really special, but it looks really nice. And then what we need to do is get a couple of other little things in. So the first thing in is a bin. We're going to put the bin that side of the path. Why not? We're going to put some benches in as well. Because at the same time we do want some lovely benches in. And we're going to put a security camera in, why not? Again, rotate button. Learning the rotate button. This is just for security reasons, because, you know, I'm conscious of any Carol Baskins trying to shut down my park. I will be very upset. So, let's get in, everything else is in. We don't have water yet, but I think it's covered for this opening part of the map. We'll have to create water sources ourselves, just because we will. Yeah, I think water's sort of covered, so that's not overly a problem. But the key is to get these animals in, so let's do it. Let's get an animal into our park. The first thing we need to do is get some staff in. That's very important. So we'll hire one caretaker, doing a great job. And his name's Haywood McHugh, great name. One keeper, because we only need one at the minute. One mechanic, believe it or not, more important than they look. One security guard, and a veterinarian. That's going to be our team there. Our team of miscreants. Look at them, floating in the air like nothing's wrong. So let's hit the play button. And then what we need to do is we sort of need to do something quite, clever here. We need to, if we go to animal trading and go to our trade centre, we need to really get these guys sent to our zoo. So they get sent to our zoo. And we're going to put them into quarantine. They need to go into quarantine because they need to be looked at prior to going into the actual habitat. Very, very important thing there. The next thing we need to do is we need to make sure that their habitat is up to scratch for them to come in. And to do that, we need to click the habitat button. You saw it there. Now, there are ways of making life a lot easier for you. So just by changing the species, we're able to see what is relevant for them. Oh, they have bedding leaves now. That's interesting. They didn't have them before. That's definitely not a DLC purchase, so that's good news. So yeah, everything's looking great. Now we'll be notified once they're ready to come out of quarantine, which is really important. But first what we need to do is make sure that they have food and water. So we'll start with a large food tray, and you'll want the food to be sort of front and centre, so we can put the food over there. And then what we'll also could do is put in, I like putting in the water pipes because it's a constant flow of water, and it's one thing less our zookeeper needs to sort of worry about. So we can put it there for now. Well, this will all be changing anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much. The other thing is going to be shelter. Now again, we're going to build that as part of this building. So that shelter will come over here in the corner, so they've got a bit of space to relax and stuff. But right now, I'm not overly going to just chuck a shelter in. I just want to see how they sort of react. So we'll speed up the game and we'll have a look and see sort of how we get on. And actually, there we go. So as you can see, quarantine's passed now. So that's good news. So a couple of our animals are able to come out. This one's actually injured, which is just as well we quarantined, and so we can actually do a check on that one. Serious injury on one of our females, which is bad news. But these three, all here, have all passed quarantine, so they can now go into the zoo for the very first time, and we should start seeing our brand new customers, I suppose. Are they customers? I'm assuming they are customers, coming into our zoo, which is a beautiful thing to see. We're going to expand this park a little bit, just so our guests can come in and fully see our beautiful animals. But then we want to get our terrain tool ready, because we're going to need it. That's right, these animals are fussy gits, so we need to make sure that they are well looked after. I think we've got those two, that's right, and the serious injury is going to be in the veterinary surgery. So this is our African painted dog. You can double click it and you get this beautiful, oh look at this absolute stunning beautiful creature. Gone straight for the water. Good for you, pal. And he's running around, he's really excited. Look at him. Super duper excited, beautiful creature. Now, there's a couple of issues. There's no hard shelter, we completely understand that. Its navigatable land is actually really, really low. It's not very high at all. So we might need to make this a bigger area to be. We're going to pause the game for this. So we actually need to expand their traversable area. So that's a bit disappointing. I'm a bit upset that we've made that too small. So we can make that bigger though. No problem at all. So let's do that now. We'll delete that. Oh god, go away. Delete that, and then we'll make it slightly larger. So length 5, why not? Nice, and then we won't do a curvature for now. I'll just straighten this up. There we go, that'll do. And that should be larger. I would have thought so. It definitely is larger, just whether or not it's sensible for this creature, I don't know. Now you have to press play before everything sort of changes again. We'll find out now. It's recalculating, still not big enough. And the possible reason is because there's more than one in here as well, which isn't ideal. What we can do, we can fix the other things whilst we look at making this slightly bigger anyway. So they like short grass. There's not a lot of short grass for them, so we need to make sure we increase the level of short grass and reduce the level of long grass in their habitat. They're not a big fan of long grass, so we'll put as much short grasses in as they sort of want or need, I suppose, at the minute. There we go, and we've got another animal actually that's ready to come out, so you can now move to your new habitat. Good news, there we go. So everyone will be happy. Now, it needs a bit of soil, they do, so that's fine. We can add a bit of light soil. And I'm going to add the soil at the start anyway, just to the back end here. And they'll quite like that. There we go. And that should be fine. Everything should be good now. The one thing they haven't got is hard shelter. They're not too unhappy about that right now. We will look at changing that shortly. But look at this, absolutely beautiful. A pack of African wild dogs looks sensational. We do need to make some changes to this habitat though. So what I'm going to do is we are going to edit the barrier. I'm going to pause the game because we don't want to piss these things off. And we're just going to, just for now, move that to there. We can move this one to there. Can we move this one? Yeah, we can. To there. That looks quite nice, doesn't it? And then we got a bit of a larger area now. So when we press play, these guys now should have a new recalculated area. And it's just on the cusp. It's because there's a more in there now, so that's probably why they're not as happy as they could be. We will look at increasing that because, yeah, we may want to put a little pool in there or something. They don't need it, but yeah, everything looks good. So we've got our African painted dogs. They look very nice and happy. The one thing we haven't got is a Joe exotic, but don't worry, we'll get there. And then what we want to do is build a little sort of area here. Now, that's all sounding great, but the real star of the show here is this beautiful creature. But you'll notice the enrichment is not very good on the animal. Now, what that means essentially is they can't have fun in their area. They're going to get very bored, and it's not very good fun for them. So what we need to do is give them some enrichment tools. But when we filtered it out, there was no enrichment for them here. And enrichment normally is this thing here, so they haven't got any. So we need to research. Oh, there's another player that plays the game. Hello, friend. How cool are you? And she thinks the zoo price is great. Very kind of you. Anyway, let's. We need to obviously get these guys some fun. So what we need to do is get our veterinarian, which is Gerard Hunt, and get them researching the African wild dog. What this will mean is they will then fully research these dogs, and eventually, after a couple of research attempts, they will be able to have a pretty fresh, pretty nice place to live with some things that they want, which is pretty awesome. Now, what we do want to do is I do want to build a sort of a little hut for them, and we're going to do that by having a bit of a themed building. Now, Breeze Block looks pretty basic and pretty crap, but I don't mind too much. You've also got then this metal plank, which is also quite nasty, and then we've got plaster wall. Now, I'm going to start with plaster wall. We can always end up looking to change the plaster wall, but I would like this plaster wall to sort of be a sort of theme to what we have here. So what we're going to do is this plaster wall is going to be built as sort of a building for them, but also a building that connects this building here. So it hides both, it hides sort of all the buildings is where I'm going with this. So what we can do if we click off the building is we can move said building into there and use it to cover up the actual boundary of the, and we can have it quite shorter as well. It's up to us really where we want it, but we can have it so it covers up the boundary of the actual area. We can remove this. We can actually end up removing this whole boundary. So I quite like how this works. So we're going to edit the building. We're going to add more of this wall, and basically it's going to be sort of the welcome to our lovely sort of park that our super dogs like. Oh crap, not quite straight along there, but it doesn't really matter. But it just as well offers a background to their habitat. Now, don't worry about this, we can change all this fencing because they're not going to be able to escape anyway. And if we put it in the inside there and like that, I suppose it works. Maybe we turn that there. There we go. I think in there. That looks lovely. And then what we can do is we can sort of build these sort of archways, and it looks like they have sort of a really nice place to live. That's the idea. It's all about the illusion of these animals being in a nice area, whereas in reality they're still in captivity. But whatever. I mean, it'll look nice for them. I don't really have a nice looking roof right now. I don't think so. I have asphalt, which I suppose we'll have to do. And we can put that across there. And then we can rotate this, and I suppose we can just put it along here for now. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? Oh crap, Control Z that. Oh crap, Control Z that. There we go. So at least they have a bit of undercover now. It's less traversable area, which is unfortunate. We can delete that bit of plasterwall. Less traversable area, but they will actually have a place to go under. And now what we can actually do is lay some bedding here. Now I think this bedding is probably more suitable for them. And it just means that they're not seen. They need an area where they can't be seen effectively. And look how much money we've got. Our money's gone up. But it gives the dogs an opportunity to go somewhere else if they don't want to. What I am going to do, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, is change the opening hours. So we can go. I'll go to 8. Can we go to 8? And then we open at 7. There we go. And it's just lighter then. And it's just nicer for the dogs. So the dogs instantly are drawn to this beautiful room, which is good news. And they will go in there and they will enjoy their time and they will be happy. But as you can see, look, the welfare on the animal is much better. The traversable space is still okay, but they've got a lot of hard shelter now, so they're very happy with the shelter that we've just built them. We can obviously look at beautifying this a little bit more, and we'll probably do this. I want to do some of the beautifying in a live stream, perhaps, for some hardcore followers of the channel. That'll be quite a good idea. These episodes really focus on getting started. What do I need to get started, and what do I need for the wonderful African painted dogs? And again, we'll focus on making their habitat as useful as possible. But there we go. It looks connected. Now what we can add this to this group and put it inside there, or we can have it as an extension of this building, so that it looks like they're not actually they're having to go in this building to actually enter this one. We can do all that, but right now I quite like the idea that we've got this wall here, and that can go there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to move this, and it's going to actually come here against this wall, so it looks like it's plumbed into this system. So yeah, that's the plan there, and then they can still drink from that if they wish. So it looks plumbed in. I quite like that idea. So yeah, all good news. So that's pretty much it for this episode. Hopefully that covers it a little bit. Getting started in Planet Zoo. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed the episode and felt like you've learnt something, then thank you very much. If not, don't worry, there is so much more to see. This is Getting Started in Planet Zoo. I will catch you all of you, on the flippity flip. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.